Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Falsely accuse me and withhold my pay? Say goodbye to your business. After that, my taxes pay your salary. No, they do not. And after that, no, I absolutely won't come with you to your car. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen says goodbye to her business. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. And huge shout out to TreasureBabe88, our newest channel member. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Become a member today and I'll give you a special shout out in our next video. Falsely accuse me and withhold my pay? Say goodbye to your business. I worked at a small local spa company. There was only about 6 workers there. I worked there for a year and a half and only met the owner once, but talked to them on the phone a lot. She was crazy, but that's besides the point. Anyways, I got hired because my friend's mom, P, was the manager, and someone had quit in the middle of their shift, so they needed someone fast. I worked really well there and learned very fast. I was very good at the job to the point where after a couple of months, they sent new hires to be trained by me. Turnover there was bad. Despite this, I didn't get a raise or anything. It wasn't a big deal, but it would have been nice. Anyways, I was always a closer. There would be a list of things I had to do after we closed, like vacuum and dust and such, janitorial things. As months go by, P begins to pick apart things. A string was left on the rug, the candy bowls weren't filled, even though they weren't even half gone, etc. Slowly, things started to get worse. Eventually, I was being told that I was not cleaning rooms that I know for a fact I had. Now, I admit that once in a while I would forget to clean something, but I was getting yelled at for things I knew for a fact I cleaned. My other problem was that when my coworkers would forget the same exact things, she wouldn't yell at them, but would just say, "Try to remember," or something along those lines. Eventually, P got other coworkers to lie so that she could report me to the owner. Many days I came right from school and would be wearing jeans. P left right when I got there, so after I clocked in and counted the drawer, I would go and change into my work pants. Well, other coworkers would lie and tell her I never changed. After this, I began taking pictures and time-stamping them. This worked for a little while, but then my coworkers would say I changed back into jeans after that picture. And when it came to cleaning, she would say I didn't clean it well enough, etc. All of these would get turned into the owner, but she wouldn't fire me because they were so desperate for people and no one wanted to work there. I wonder why. Eventually, I quit because I had a job for the summer that gave me a lot more hours. In my summer job, I made the same amount of money in 7 weeks that I made in a year at the last place. Right after I left, I learned why P wanted me gone so bad. P hired her son, my ex-friend, because he was too lazy to work a job where he couldn't sit around all day. That made me mad. But what also made me mad is that they wouldn't give me my last paycheck. We were paid in cash. I sent multiple emails and text messages to P and the owner that reminded them and then threatened legal action. Being a high schooler, I don't believe they thought I would do anything. How wrong they were. Well, there were many reasons I was about this, so I decided I'd document every single thing about that place. These include 8+ hour work days with no breaks or lunch, both of which are required in my state, rats in the basement, ant infestation, fake security cameras, P faking the amount of money we had to pay her son and daughter for under-the-table work, not fixing things like building framework, mold, etc., allowing temperatures to go above and below the legal limit. On bad days, it was above 100 or below 50 inside. P giving themselves a raise, even though they already made more than anyone else there. Selling client information. P compiling clients for another worker to take with them to a new company. Usually not illegal, but the way they went about it was. I don't remember the exact details. Not doing anything about harassment and not paying workers. There'd be days where we didn't have enough money in the drawer and the owner and or P would be too lazy to go to the bank, so they would just straight up not pay us. Not only this, but prior to me leaving, I recorded some of the mistreatment from P. Believe it or not, I even got them to admit to making false write-ups on me. There was more, but I can't remember what else right now. Anyways, I compiled all of this and sent it in an email to OSHA. It went down. In the end, both P and the owner were served with some hefty fines, and P is even facing jail time right now for fraud. The owner had to shut down their business and sell it. I don't know if the owner is facing any jail time. I emailed every spa within 50 miles, so the owner, P, and some coworkers have been blacklisted from working within an hour of where we're located. I never did receive my last payment. It wasn't worth going to court over, but what came out of it was so much better. My taxes pay your salary. No, they do not. This happened 3 years ago, but my friend reminded me of it yesterday, so I thought I'd share. It was the middle of June and my first weekend off in quite a long time. I'd been giving my friend a never-ending rain check of promising to teach her to fish. Our schedules finally line up, weather's perfect, it's fishing time. We arrive at a local lake. It's the type where you don't need a fishing license, just a pass for the lake. Money goes to the city. We buy our passes from the concession stand and head back to my car to get the gear. I brought 3 setups, one for me, one for a friend, and just in case. It's a really busy Saturday morning, lots of people. We do a mini hike across the lake to get to our spot and get to fishing. Friend learns quickly. We catch a few before the sun's all the way up. We're pumped how well the day is going and decide to take a lunch break when it starts to get hot. At about 11, we take the stuff back to my car. We chill, eat, hydrate, and head back. While we're walking back, a group of kids break away from their families to follow us around. They were all boys, 4 of them. 3 of them were probably around 8 to 11, and the 4th is maybe 6. I'm thinking they just want to watch us fish, and they likely told their parents where they were going, so I don't even think about it. We get back to our spot, but the kids are trying to follow us down the hill. The top of the hill has a trail. If you're careful, you can climb down to reach a small landing that's close to the water's edge. It was stressing me out watching them try and climb down, so I yell up to them to find a safer place for them to watch. Basically, next to us, easier to get to, but there's a gap in between the landings. Once they got down, they decided to have a rock skipping contest. Not exactly polite to do that next to people fishing, but I let it go. Then these kids decide to have a jumping contest. They're jumping from their landing to our landing, back and forth. There's only a 2-foot gap, but if they fell, they'd definitely get hurt. Friend is getting more stressed than me watching them. Makes them promise her to be careful. They said what I probably would have said when I was their age. Fine. Whatever, guys. The ringleader of the group, oldest, maybe 11, then asks me if they're allowed to fish. I ask them if they have a pass. Stupid me. They say yes in unison. I tell them, if you got a pass, you're good to go. Ringleader puts his hands on my fishing pole that I'm holding still and asks if he can use it. I pull away, say, no, bud, I'm using it. He picks up my just-in-case pole without asking and says, what about this one? No, that's mine, and I don't want you hurting yourself with it. Little brat gives me an attitude and shouts, well, what can I use? I didn't even know what to say at first, but I pulled out Old Faithful. Go ask your parents. It worked. They immediately left. About 20 minutes later, we hear a large group of people coming down the trail. It's the kids and their family, and the kids are whispering and pointing at me, mostly just ringleader. A lady a bit older than me, guessing mom, angrily makes her way over to the spot and lays into me. I don't remember everything, but the general consensus is that I'm ungrateful and I need to get shot, her words. Kids are still close, so I decide to keep it PG. I also have a little issue with my hearing. If something is too loud, I can't usually make out the sound. Like if you're yelling at me, I'm not going to get every word. I explain I can't hear her when she raises her voice. She starts yelling louder. I'm getting nothing. Friend is mortified. I stare at her until there's a break and say, yeah, I didn't get a word of that. She almost starts to go off again when the guy with her shouts something at her in another language and she stops. Angry lady. Did you tell these boys they couldn't fish? Me. No, I said just the opposite. She's stunned. Why can't they fish then? They're allowed to fish at this lake. Me. They can fish. They're absolutely allowed to fish here. They just can't use my stuff. Why not? Everyone else here is fishing. This lake is owned by the city. Yup, sure is. Blank stares for way too long. You need to teach them to fish. Me. Miss, I can't watch all of them. What if they hurt themselves? Yes, you are. My taxes pay your salary. No, they do not. Yes, they do. I pay taxes, and taxes pay for this lake. and they better not hurt themselves, because if they do... You think I work here? More blank stares. Me. Miss, I work at place I used to work. Doing thing I did while I was there. Even more blank stares. Me. I fix computers. I didn't, but it's easier to say than to explain what I really did. Silence. This poor lady looks so embarrassed as it clicks that I'm just a person fishing on their day off. But I don't even get an apology. No recognition that she was wrong. She just climbs back over to the rest of the family as they quietly speak amongst themselves, walking away in their shame. When they're finally out of sight, friend and I give each other the "what the heck just happened" look and break into the most beautiful 45-minute session of uncontrollable laughter I've ever had. No, I absolutely won't come with you to your car. So I'm 15 and female. This morning, my older brother called me because the key to his car wasn't working, electric short, and he wanted me to wake my dad up so we could bring him the spare. That I did. So my dad drives us to this 7-Eleven parking lot that my brother is stuck in and hands me his card, telling me to grab him a Coke Zero and get myself something to drink and eat. It's 7:30 a.m. I'm wearing fuzzy slipper boots, leggings, a sick Persona 5 mask that I sewed myself, AirPods, and a Marvel hoodie. I have cotton candy pink hair, and I wear glasses. I'm also 5'1" and look way younger than I actually am unless I'm wearing makeup. In comes Bill. Bill is somewhat over 6 feet tall and large. I don't know if it was fat or muscle, but he was big. I don't have social anxiety. My dad is a musician, so I'm used to being approached by people that I don't know and can generally hold friendly conversation, help people who need help, stuff like that. This guy is not wearing a mask. He looks like if Guy Fieri, the dude from Duck Dynasty, and Joe Exotic had a 400-pound love child. He's wearing a sleeveless muscle shirt with the words "Keep America Great" on it and a graphic of the president holding a guitar. I'm standing in front of the fridge door that had energy drinks in it when Bill over here taps on my shoulder. I turned around. In this moment, I felt like Derek Shepherd when the semi-truck was coming. Pure fear. The conversation went as follows. Me. Hey, sorry, am I in your way? Bill. You're awfully young to be working here. Can I see your manager? I don't think pants like that should be allowed on the job. Me, now very confused. I'm sorry, I don't work here. Do you need help? I can get an employee if you need. I picked up 2 orange monsters. My AP test is on the 11th, and I need to get my sleep schedule back on track, so I'm pulling an all-nighter. And moved 6 feet away from the guy. I already had my dad's soda tucked under my arm. Bill. Are you one of them girls who do free car washes? Can you clean out my passenger seat and come home with me? Nobody'll notice. Just say you're on your break. That escalated quickly. For context, I'm black/white/Hispanic mixed, but didn't end up with curly hair or blue eyes. I have brown eyes and very thick and wavy dark brown hair. Me. No, I'm sorry. Let me find you an employee. Bill. No, it'll be just fine. Bill then reaches for my free hand, which I very sharply pull away. I started walking to the front of the store, and he follows a few feet behind. I put my things on the counter and start to check out. Bill is standing like a foot behind me. Employee. Good morning. Did you find everything okay? Me. Good morning. Yes, I did. Thank you for asking. Bill, now yelling. Excuse me. I can see that you're friends and all, but your employee has been absolutely disgusting to me, and I want my gas pumped for free. Employee. Sir, I'm sorry. She's not an employee. She's a customer. No, she's not. She offered to help me in the aisle back there. Sir, that was probably just her practicing common courtesy. Me. Is your chip reader working or should I swipe? Bill. I want your manager now. Employee. Sir, I'm the only person here right now. The manager will be here at 10 a.m. I'm standing there holding the card and waiting for this dude to back off and grab a little tube of donuts from the counter for my troubles, then place it down since I hadn't paid yet. Bill then huffs and storms out, gets into a 4x4 with wheels as tall as me, and very aggressively drives away as Hotel California blares from the speakers. I could hear it from inside the store. Employee. The chip reader works. Go ahead. The total is $11.24. I left and found my dad, handed him the bag, and told him my tale. We leave. On the way home, we passed Bill's truck. I don't think he saw us. I hope he didn't. We were in a Prius. 4x4 versus Prius never goes well for the Prius. Take the money I give for bills and squander it? Hope you like the court system. I lived with a group of people who I thought were my friends. They were two couples, and we all lived in the same house for almost 2 years until I recently moved out. There was David and Tina and Brittany and AJ. I was the only single person there. There was a debate on how we should pay the bills, but we all decided to give the money to the person whose name was on the bill. David paid the mortgage, Tina paid the water and electric/gas, and I paid the internet. It came to the point where I was paying close to 80% of the mortgage by myself, the entire water bill, and about 75% of the gas and electric, and I was paying the internet bill by myself. I was giving the money still to the person in charge of the bill, but came to find out about 10 days before I moved out that the mortgage was defaulted on and the house was in foreclosure. Also, the water, gas, and electric bills were a constant threat of being shut off, and that the only up-to-date bill was the internet. While they all saw me struggle to pay these off, they were mindlessly spending money during the day, which is when I sleep due to working third shift, so I never saw the mindless things they spent money on, nor did I ever see the mail since they grabbed it before I woke up. Brittany never paid anything as she was having her check garnished due to unpaid student loans, but she always had expensive makeup. AJ never held a job for more than 2 weeks. David and Tina were always calling into work, knowing that I wouldn't allow them to go without a home due to our history. One day, I woke up while they were all out and about doing something or other, so I went to go check the mail as I was expecting a package when I saw the bills in the mail, so I decided to investigate. I opened up the gas and electric bill, as they are by the same company, to see a total amount of almost $400 and in risk of being shut off. I was shocked and upset. I knew right then and there what was going on, and I vowed to do them over as hard as I could. I had just interviewed for a new job that paid almost double what I was making, and I knew that I interviewed well with them, so I told myself that if I got the job, I would give them a 30-day notice and move out. And as it was close to the end of the month and I had already paid them, I would be moving out before the 1st of February. I got the call with the job offer the next day, which I happily accepted. I did the paperwork for the background check, and it all came back clean. The same day I accepted the offer, I typed out a 30-day notice and recorded myself with my phone in my pocket, handing it to them, explaining that I was moving out. I started my job and my hunt for an apartment close to my new job, which I found within a week of starting. I took almost the entirety of my checks, set them aside for rent, deposit, and basic things that I would need. I was asked several times to help with the next month's bills, to which I said no, as I was saving for my own place and that they had plenty of time to come up with the money between the 4 of them, because I was doing it all by myself, pretty much on a meager pay rate of $11 an hour before my new job. There were a lot of scowls, passive-aggressive behavior, and flat-out attempts to take or use my things or foods without my permission. The day came when I finally went and got my U-Haul and had a few friends help me move. Free beer and free lunch are the best payment ever, as they shared it all with me. I was determined to get it all in one go, so I got the biggest one they had, and we got everything packed up. I took everything that was mine down to my pizza stone, which they loved, my expensive kitchen knives, which they would use and never clean, even my toilet paper that I had bought 3 days prior to because I needed it. A few rolls went missing very quick. After moving everything, I sat down on my couch, looked around, my cat at my lap, and breathed a sigh of relief. I happened to be good friends with my previous neighbors and asked them to keep an eye out for anything out of the ordinary. 4 days go by, and I come to find out that the gas, electric, and water have all been turned off, and they were asking to fill up some buckets to manually flush the toilets, bathe in, etc. Now, both couples have dogs, which my cat hated as they were both hyperactive as heck, but I loved them. So I decided that those dogs were in a dangerous situation as they had no water, no heat in the middle of winter, and probably no food as I had bought the last bag about 2 weeks prior. I hate to see an animal hungry. So I called the local humane society and left an anonymous tip about the dogs and how I was worried about them. The next day, my neighbor, Todd, texted me telling me that the dogs were removed from the home, that my previous housemates were being charged with neglect, and because of the lack of utilities, that these were not civil but criminal charges. This was enough for me to smile, but I wanted more. I knew that David was divorced and had a kid. I also knew that he wasn't paying child support. I then contacted the local courts and made them aware of the flagrant non-support and that maybe they could help the agency looking for him. I provided the address that we lived at, and the homeowner was the one who was being looked for. From there, it came to light that he was almost $25,000 behind, which is a felony in the state where I live. He's now living with someone on their couch as Tina left him. The house has been foreclosed on, and he has nothing to his name while facing multiple criminal charges. Moral of the story, don't take advantage of a friend who knows all your dirty secrets. Mother expects me to split my stimulus check with my entitled sibling. To preface, I just turned 19 years old and my sibling is 20. I wasn't planning on getting a stimulus check due to the fact that I thought I was considered a dependent due to not having a job and such. So I was just living my life, waiting for when I can get my GED and a job. 2 days ago, my mom was cooking herself dinner and I walked into the kitchen to get myself something. She asked me if I would be upset if I didn't get all of my stimulus check, and she took some of it to pay for my GED and driver's education courses. I said that I would be a little upset. I wanted to make that decision for myself to feel a little bit like an adult, and that I thought I wasn't even going to get one. Next thing I know, she came back in from her car and angrily handed me my check and said that I better be responsible with it. Now, call me unreasonable, but that was a little rude. But me being me, I just brushed it off, made myself dinner, and deposited it through my bank's mobile app. Yay, I got money for important adult things, right? Wrong. It's been 2 days now, and my mother just told me in front of my entitled sibling and dad that I should split my check with my entitled sibling. Now, I like to think I'm a pretty generous person with a big heart. I love helping people out and all, but my entitled sibling is the least responsible person I've ever met. They spend all of their money on junk and knickknacks with no purpose, especially since I need to spend the money on important things that will help me move out of this place. I said no. After this, my mom went to bed. She said goodnight to my father and my entitled sibling, but not me. Purposefully. It was one of the most petty things I've ever witnessed. My entitled sibling has apparently been complaining about not getting a stimulus check and is getting upset that I did. They're calling it unfair. I think it's perfectly fair because I didn't decide the rules for everything. I shouldn't have to shell out $600 to a person that's going to spend it on junk. Am I the one being unreasonable? Should I just give them the $600? Or should I actually stick up for myself for once and spend it on the things that I need? Any advice would be appreciated. Old lady says I'll be written up for telling her there's no breakfast. So for some background, I work in a senior living home as a server, and I'm a pretty nice person to the residents. But when they start yelling at me, I tend to cry a little, so I don't really confront anyone. We've got the old lady, we've got old lady's fiance, we've got coworker, we've got boss, and me. Story. So in my work, we stop serving breakfast at 1 p.m. and old lady usually comes in with her fiance at around noon to eat breakfast. But on that day, they came in at like 1:05 p.m. and they sat down at the table they always do, and I went to go take their order. Me. Hey old lady and old lady's fiance, do you know what you would like? Or would you like some menus? I asked because I know they didn't know what we have for lunch since they never order lunch. Old lady. Yes, I would like some pancakes. And me. Oh, I'm sorry, but we don't serve breakfast after 1 p.m. I'm sorry. Lady. What? Not even eggs or bacon? Nothing? Me. No, I'm sorry, but would you like some menus so you can decide what you'd like? Old lady and fiance nod, and I get them menus and walk away to clean other tables, and someone else takes their orders. I thought that would be the end. Of course it wasn't, and about an hour later they finished and start heading to the front to pay. That's when the lady sees me walking away from the front to check on other residents. Are you the first person who talked to me? Yes. So you're the one who told me there was no breakfast, right? Yes. Okay, come with me to look at a menu before you get written up for being rude to a customer. Me, very confused as to what I did wrong, start walking to the table we keep menus on. Okay, opens a menu and holds it in between us. Right here, it says a la carte. That means I can have breakfast whenever I ask. Me, no. The times on the menu clearly say that we have breakfast specials from 7 to 11 a.m. and regular breakfast from 7 to 1 p.m. Yeah, but that's up here. Down here it says a la mode. That means all day. At this point, she starts kind of berating me. We have been coming here for breakfast for a while. And we're not going to have some girl telling us, "Oh, you can't have breakfast," said in a mocking tone. At this point, another resident came in and was waiting to be waited on. Lady: "Now, do not go around telling people what they can and can't have. I'm gonna give you a smile, and you're going to give 3 other people smiles too." One thing everyone knows about me is I hate being told to smile, no matter the context. I'll smile if I feel like I should. "Now someone just came in. Don't be rude. Don't tell him he can't have breakfast, and smile at him." She then walked away and acted like nothing happened while getting cashed out by my boss and cousin. In hindsight, I should have went up and talked to my boss right then and there and told her what just happened, but I knew I was just going to cry while explaining it, so I took the other resident's order and went on break when I told my coworker who was there. I cried a little after telling them. We sat there making fun of it and saying things like, "Man, if she wants, she can try to order pancakes for dinner, see how far that goes, and we're not McDonald's, she should get here a bit earlier." One of my coworkers even said I was super nice when explaining that we didn't have breakfast. He said that I didn't even need to say sorry. Anyway, only one of my coworkers seemed upset. He left the room and went back to work. A couple minutes later, he comes back in and hugs me, saying he confronted old lady and told her that she was wrong, and she kept saying that I was super rude to her. I didn't want to give them breakfast because I was lazy. Coworker: "Do you want to go talk to boss about it?" Our boss is a take no BS from anyone type of person, so she usually tells off the residents when they are crossing the line with us. Old lady: "Oh no, I'm very busy right now." Coworker: "Don't worry, I'll bring boss here." That's when he told our boss, and he stood near so he could hear, and apparently old lady was telling boss that me and coworker were super rude to her. We then started joking about it again when boss comes into the break room and tells us what happened. Boss: "So I talked to her about it, and she kept lying, saying that you and coworker were super rude and yelling at her, and that coworker was waving a menu in her face, which I know is a lie, as I can think of some people who would do that, and you two are nowhere near being on that list. She kept saying that a la mode meant all day, and she knows that's what it meant. I told her that's not what it meant, and that it meant 1 by 1 of what we have. Then old lady said that I was lying, and I told her I wasn't because I made the menu 15 years ago, and she just went quiet then. To this day, old lady has not spoken to me unless it's to give me her order for dinner. She never apologized or admitted she was wrong. This isn't the only story I have with her in it." And shoutouts to our regenerals of the day, Zay King, Aldrich, and Birthday Friendship. And please listen to my playlist every night when you go to sleep.